For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com on your favorite podcast apps or, well, really wherever the hell you found us. As a Canadian and being safe in Canada for several months now, I haven't traveled to the States, though I can as an essential worker in media. We're gonna talk about the rioting that happened in Washington, D.C. earlier in the week, because here's the thing. As Canadians, as outsiders, I know from having a lot of American listeners on our syndicated radio shows, you love hearing what outsiders think of your politics and the goons that you have running amok throughout your cities and different communities. And so we're going to get our producer, Bonnie Winters, on the phone. She's joined us, back 10, 12 years ago, she was doing regular segments with me on the radio show. But a lot of you people like the interactions that we have with her, so we're actually bringing her back. It's like an encore presentation. Bonnie has opinions on everything. We're going to talk about, from an outsider's point of view, looking at the riots. Because you always hear the anchors, the national news anchors going and saying, the world is watching, the country is watching. Absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes we're even laughing because you're destroying your own community. Like, what's the point of that? And I said that even last year when those riots were happening throughout the United States. It's like, these are your communities. And I understand that people were coming from other, neighboring what have yous, but it's still your country. Like, that would be like me being in Winnipeg and going to Brandon, Manitoba, or Kenora, Ontario, smashing windows and then coming home. Like, road trip, let's go. Like, that's still my country. Like, those are still, but Canadians just look at things a different way. So we're going to talk with Bonnie Winters coming up in the next segment, and I know she's got a lot to say, and you never know how it's going to unfold because she could very well be into a glass or two of wine at this point. We'll get into that right after this here on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Bonnie Winters, our fearless producer, is joining us on the line to talk American politics because as a Canadian, that's what she loves best. Hi, Bon Bon.
Oh, yeah, we've got every right, don't we? Sure.
Well, I mean, we were communicating back and forth. It was a couple days now, Wednesday afternoon, when all of that rioting and everything was happening in Washington. Now, from being in Canada last year, there was a time where Canadians were basically glued to the TV almost every night for like a week when those riots were happening, like across the country.
Right, yes.
And we have a lot of American listeners, as you know, but we always hear the anchors on TV, Wolf Blitzer, Anderson Cooper, they always say, the world is watching and laughing at us or shaking their heads. Quite honestly, Canadians, we're getting popcorn. My parents were like, oh, we got to get home. We got to watch the riots tonight. It's so bizarre to think that our neighbors to the south are acting like that. What do you think?
I know exactly. Like, it really is an unusual thing to see. Very sad in one respect, but we have to realize everybody has a right to protest and get their opinions across.
Right.
And yeah, for the most part, protests are usually quite calm and but oh boy, it did get out of hand, didn't it? Wow.
And it's a little bit strange too because we, like I said, we've got a lot of American listeners. I make a lot of money thanks to American companies, so we're certainly not knocking the country. That's not what we're doing at all. But it's so strange when you hear them say, this is the best country in the world, and the president is the leader of the free world, and and then when you look at it and go, well, I don't really know if that's true anymore. Like, I know when I was starting out in radio and being the Canadian aspiring broadcaster that I was almost ashamed to be Canadian when pitching myself to American audiences because it was always sort of like, oh, no, our country first. Oh, you're Canadian? Yeah, no, we're not giving it. America first. And now there's sort of been a role reversal where a lot of Americans who aren't doing these riots and things are kind of looking at Canada going, yeah, you know what? We take that back. You're not the the redheaded stepchild or whatever the term is. Like Canada's actually a pretty decent country now that we see it in perspective as 4 years of Trump.
Well, I have to admit, I have a lot of American friends, and I have American friends on the left side. I have American friends on the right side. And I have to tell you, they view me, their Canadian bud, as the person who really shouldn't comment on American politics.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, we do as friends as such, but when they get really heated in their conversations, they look at me and say, hey, you're not American. You don't understand how this works. You should be commenting. And in some respects, I have to agree with them. But I do, because we're friends, they let me give my opinion, which I appreciate. But yeah, I've got to back off, and maybe rightfully so when they get into the real heated aspects of things,
But think about it this way. I mean, Canadians are, sort of into politics. I mean, I know if I were to go and ask my parents to name some of the federal cabinet ministers, people in Ottawa, they would know Trudeau. They wouldn't, and they know Ford, but that's not. He's a premier. They would know some of the sort of key people who have been front and center during this whole coronavirus thing. But Americans, like you're saying, are so big into their politics. We're forever hearing about how, Thanksgiving dinner is going to be so contentious because there's going to be all these fights over politics. I've never been to one of your family, Christmases or whatever, Bon. How often is your family all of a sudden having heated political debates? That's just not a Canadian thing.
Well, except now that we have the pandemic worldwide, there's
Sure.
a lot of debates going on. But no, you're right. For the most part, when you're in America, everything's political. Everything, every get together, it always turns. Well, at least that's my friends. It always turns to politics. But here in Canada, not so much. You're right.
And the only thing that I can think of in recent time, now, yes, Trudeau has his scandals. We're certainly not saying that our leader is squeaky clean. But the only thing that I can sort of think of is people not really caring for Harper back in the day, and there were some protests. It certainly wasn't as vocal, definitely not violent. I mean, maybe it was, I just don't remember that. But it was sort of like a low-key demonstration or protest. Like, we always hear about that during hockey, right? The Olympics or whatever. We're humble. We're kind of that reserved country.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, you're a mom, you're a grandma as well. You were watching the rioting on Wednesday, and then even last year when it was happening, across the country, like I said. You're at home with hubby watching this. All of a sudden, you see one of your kids there. What's your first thought?
Good for them.
Rioting? Okay, wait a second here, Bonnie. No, protesting is one thing. No, I'm talking about these people who...
You listen,
No, that's not what I'm asking you. No, what I'm asking you is the rioting I'm talking. I said we were watching the rioting on Wednesday. You see your kid scaling the Capitol building, Bonnie. What's your first thought?
Well, okay, the rioting part, absolutely, it's just got to go. It can't happen. I mean, that's not right. I was shocked when I saw windows being broken and people destroying property. I mean, come on. That's just going to make it bad for everybody.
But answer the question directly, though. You see your kid's face on the screen doing it. What's your reaction? What do you do?
Well, I'll tell you right now. No kid of mine doing that.
But I mean, this is a legitimate. I know that I've had this conversation with some people. Some people say, "Well, that's my kid. I'm going to protect them." I don't know. There's one thing. But
no. They'd get their butts kicked if it was my kid. They no. I'm old traditionalist. You buck up and you do as you're told, and you be responsible, and you treat people right, and if not, you get your butt kicked. I don't give them any oh, you poor thing, well, you've had a rough life or whatever. No way.
So do you turn in your kid?
Do I turn in my kid?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, come on, but you've got to. If you're gonna talk the talk, I've got to put you on the spot. You're laying down the law right now on this conversation. But what do you do? Do you phone it in, Bon?
I turn off the TV. That's what I do.
That's right. You put on Wheel of Fortune instead. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops! My power went off. Oh dear.
No. Whose side do you have? Do you have your country side, or do you side with your kid?
Well, I just can't answer that one. I'm just too much of a mom.
Hey, Mike. I want Mike. Get me Mike.
No, I can't.
Where is he? Okay, let me ask you what he would do. What would your husband's a rough and tough kind of guy? What would your husband do to your kids? Would he turn them in?
I can't answer for
You've
him.
been married to him for 65 years. What would he...
Married for however long doesn't matter. I still can't answer for him. That's his business.
You know him well enough. What would he applaud and go, "That's my kid"? Yeah, come on, Bon.
Go ahead, Jake. Try and back me into a corner. I'm not going.
No, put me on speakerphone, Mike.
No. He's out and about.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's all. It's convenient, isn't it? That's fine. I'll call his cell phone. We'll get him.
Very convenient.
All right, hold on. We've got his number here.
No, you don't.
We'll get him. We've got more phone lines here, Bon. So what is the outcome for all of this then? Are you expecting arrest after arrest after arrest? Are these people just going to get off scot-free? Like, what? I know we know what should happen, but what do you think is going to happen?
Oh gosh, I don't know what they're going to end up doing. That's a really good question, boy. I mean, the ones that did all the destructive, property stuff. No, I mean, they really should get arrested. I mean, you can't go around doing things like that. That's just not right.
Is it worse because it's federal, like, that's your government, that's whatever, or is it, smashing windows of a building is smashing windows of a building?
Well, smashing windows of a building, period. You're destroying property. It's not yours. And you look after what you have, and you leave other people's things alone. It's just the way it is.
I don't know that we haven't seen, at least in Winnipeg, I don't think that we have seen a riot of sorts in recent years. The only thing, what happens when people want to celebrate, what happens in Winnipeg, is people flock where?
Oh, Portage and Main.
Right. And those are... And that's a Canadian thing. It's usually, it's signifying generally hockey is kind of what it is.
Sure.
But even, if the Canadians, lose in hockey or whatever, people are still going there to celebrate just overall. You might have lost, but it's still a community of people. It's never hateful.
That's
it's never,
That's exactly right. Yeah, I think for the most part, they just want to go and have a good time and be a community together, and that's what we're like here. And really, I think for the most part, that's what Americans are like too. When they first started showing clips at the White House on the grounds, and the reporter was reporting, there were people walking behind her, waving and smiling and lifting up their coffee cup, and just having a great time. And they were gathering together and being supportive. And then, there's always those groups that tend to get out of hand, right?
We heard a lot of people saying that, they can't wait for the year to be over, right? Because that was, it was Corona, it was the Trump administration. There were so many reasons why people wanted the year to end. And it seemed like there was almost this kind of like this, there was going to be the snap of a finger. The new year was going to be completely different. Everything would be, Corona's going to be gone. So what do you see happening when Biden, like, I don't see the inauguration going off without a hitch. And I don't mean it being like disrupted in Biden in a bunker. What I'm saying is something like this that played out on Wednesday, protests and violence, maybe not directed towards Biden, but I think that you're going to see that again. And I don't know that that's going to stop anytime soon. I think people are believing that this is all happening because Trump is president. But I don't know. And again, we should be clear to everybody. Neither of us, Bonnie or I, has any stake in American politics at all. We have no opinion as to if Trump was the right guy or Hillary would have been the right. Like, that's not what we're saying. What we're talking about is it's just an overall observation as to how things are playing out. So do you see this going away when Biden is in office? Like, I don't see Trump going away quietly, clearly, in the days leading up to the next inauguration.
Well, he's sure making it look like he's not going to go away quietly.
So,
I think everyone's just, baited by their television, watching to see what's going to happen next. Oh, my goodness. It's anybody's guess.
Right. So do you see protests continuing on once Biden is in office? Because, again, like I said, the Trump supporters and rioters, I guess they're being called, they're not going to go away, clearly. So do you see them just being more disruptive and vengeful? Like, what do you see happening, let's say, in February, March, April?
I don't think most of them are vengeful. I don't think most of them are disruptive either. But, yeah, it's really hard to know what they're going to end up doing, if it'll just peter out or fade out. Or I'm actually quite interested to see how that's going to pan out.
Let's shift gears. Biden is becoming president. Who is the most attractive president of the United States that they've had?
Ronald Reagan.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I have great respect for Ronald Reagan. I think he really was for the people.
No, I'm talking the shallow. No, we're talking superficial. I'm saying looks. Who was hot? Who was the hottest?
Oh, hottest? I don't know. I had my own guy in tow, so I wasn't worried about who was the hot president.
Okay.
I had my hot guy.
Oh, please. Yeah, we're going to get him on the phone here, everybody. We're just dialing Mike here. You're talking about Mike, right? I just should ask that first before I call Mike. That's awkward.
Maybe.
This is, and let's tell everybody, this is the only show where we can go from having sort of a serious political chat to then rate the hottest presidents of the United States. Okay, so let me go here. So on the looks factor, the hotness, the appearance and look. So Reagan 1 to 10, how hot?
Oh, I don't know. Looks factor. I mean, he was an old man by then.
That's what you're into. You've always been into that. I know that. I'm not new here, Bonnie.
Well, he always was a very distinguished looking actor.
1 to 10. 1 to 10.
Okay, let's say let's give him a 7. Let's give him a 7.
Okay, Bush Senior.
That's not fair. Come on.
Go ahead.
I'm sure they all look good in their time.
Well, you remember what they looked like in their time. I know what they looked like in their time. Bush Senior, go ahead. Bush Senior, 1 to 10.
No, I'm not going to do it. No.
Bush Jr., 1 to 10.
No, I'm not going to go there.
Will you agree with me that Barack Obama was hot?
Well, he was a very nice-looking man. Absolutely.
Okay, so
they
one.
Were a lovely-looking family.
1 to 10. How hot?
Well, I'm not going to say. No.
Who would you? Okay, who would you rather go on a date with, Biden or Obama?
Well, Biden might fall asleep. I don't know. Of course, I might too.
Yeah. Who do you think would be more fun at a party, Biden or Obama?
Well, probably Biden would be.
What?
No, you didn't let me finish. Biden might be, like one of those, got to go to bed early.
Well, that's also your game.
Now, Obama, he's a younger guy. He probably managed to party into the night, I would suspect. But who knows? But this is all, assumption, right? And we shouldn't be making assumptions.
I would just want to do like the not the YMCA, because that's a Trump song now, but I would just want to do I'd want to do the Macarena with the Obamas, or I think they'd be a hoot at a party. I would totally dance with Michelle, or Mrs. Obama, excuse me, we can't say Michelle. I think they'd be the life of the party, and I think the first person to suggest doing shots would be Mr. Obama.
Quite possibly.
Would you do a shot with him?
If he's even a drinker, I mean. Think he's even a drinker?
Oh, I'm sure he is now. Oh, please. They love their little Hawaiian getaways just as much as you do. So I'm sure he's. And don't make me play the clips of you in Hawaii drinking, Bon. We know those are those are out there.
Let's not go there. No.
Okay, Clinton, 1 to 10, how hot?
Well, I told you, I'm not. No, I won't even go there.
I didn't say go there. I'm just saying. Well, you gave Reagan a number. You said 7, so you did one of them, but that was your crush, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, he was my favorite guy, Reagan. Yeah.
Okay, Lincoln, when you guys went to school.
Well, okay, now Lincoln I have total respect for. I mean, he had to be, I would say, one of the greatest, for sure.
1 to 10.
Oh, I think I'd give Abraham Lincoln a 10. Right.
See, okay, wait, now this is interesting here, and we're so out of time, but I'm sticking with this. Shut up, Tim, we're not taking a break. I want to know, so you're fine rating the ones from 40 plus years ago,
well,
but the modern day ones that people know and know what they look like, you're not going to comment on.
Well, the thing is, like I say, I'm not American, so I shouldn't even be called.
Bullshit! No, and I'm going to say, bullshit, Bonnie. That has nothing to do with it. You can look at any person and say they're attractive, they're not. Whether you're into guys or girls, you can say. You just said.
Because you'll always have people writing in and saying, "What? Right. You like the president who did this, and this?" Well,
no, we're talking about looks. We're not talking about them as a president.
Half of these presidents did.
You know what they. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Canadian political argument. This is the extent of how Canadians argue who was the hottest. But no, we're not talking about what they do. I'm not talking about them as a person. I'm saying superficial looks. You said the Obamas are an attractive family. You said that.
JB, you know what? You're making us Canadians look very superficial here.
Absolutely.
Shallow, superficial.
Absolutely, but I'm but for the purposes of entertainment, we are, and I'm calling bullshit, because if you can go and say that the oldest presidents are hot, you can tell me what you think Barack Obama or Joe Biden is on the hotness scale. Go ahead.
Oh no, I can't. I won't go there. No, too fresh, too. This
too
is too
fresh. Biden's what, 104?
Oh, that old, eh? Gee, wow. No, yeah, these guys are all too fresh. I don't mind talking about the older ones that have, been and gone kind of thing. But
what do you I think Carter was an attractive president, and even now, and I think Carter looks hotter because of his philanthropy and Habitat for Humanity and all that.
Wonderful. I love that guy. He's right. Well, I have to say he's probably right up there with Reagan. Yeah. What a great guy, eh? He does so much good work for people. He's wonderful, and he keeps going. Age doesn't seem to be a factor, right? He just gets up every morning and keeps going. I love that.
Well, that's what, everybody loves that in a man, though, don't they, Vaughn?
Okay, now, that's it. No more.
And we're hearing that Carter won't be at the inauguration, unfortunately, but that would be something to see. I think that would be really cool. Jimmy and yeah. Rosalind Carter, it was announced earlier in the week that they won't be at the inauguration, but he's 96 years old.
Yeah, isn't that amazing, eh? And still banging the hammer and building those buildings and Habitat for Humanity, way to go.
And we have to wrap this up, but on that subject, okay. You recall that he was in Winnipeg a few years ago, and
yes, he was.
And
friends of mine saw him. Yes.
That was a huge story, not because it was a president, because it was a charitable cause that he was here for.
Right.
And we've had, and I know because I was at, it was the Michelle Obama luncheon, that was a year and a half ago maybe in Winnipeg, and we've had Barack Obama in Winnipeg. So it's great to see that they spend a lot of time in Canada, especially for Carter, doing charitable work and helping families in Winnipeg. I mean, that's an American president coming to another country to help people of another country.
He's a real humanitarian, through and through.
Okay, so 1 to 10, how hot was Obama?
I told you, it's still too fresh, I'm not going there.
Okay, the two of you are at a party. Michelle is out of the room, and Mike is and Obama and Mr. Obama says, "Bonnie, can I have this dance?"
Oh, well, absolutely, sure.
And do you let him buy you a drink?
No.
What?
No.
Really?
Well, no.
Wow. Do you offer to buy him a drink? Do you offer to get him a drink?
No. Just say thank you and, usher him back over to his wife and away I go.
Why do? And then I can't see Bonnie, but I sense her doing that eye flutter thing that she does.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Right now I'm saying. Even just talking about it. Tramp.
Man, it's a good thing this isn't FaceTime, right?
But do you slip him your hotel room key?
Absolutely not.
Carter? Do you have Carter? You might have to slip it into Carter's walker, but do you invite Carter? Maybe that would be
I'm taken.
No, we'll get a bottle of wine in you and we'll see if that story changes. We got Mike on the line. Mike, are you there?
Ain't gonna change.
Hold on, Mike's got a comment here. Mike, are you there? Do we have Mike?
You better not be.
He's not at the store. All right, we are so out of time, Bon, but thanks for somewhat playing our game of Who Would You Rather. I'll let you get back to drinking. Happy Friday, Bonnie Winters.
Well, you have a great week.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. I'm going to be honest with you. We had Bonnie scheduled for 7 minutes, and so we ran a little bit over time. We were just by a hair. I think we were over by about 14 minutes or so. But this is why, and I'm going to be completely honest, this is why we try to avoid having Bonnie on the radio show, because those are music shows, right? Top 40 and a country music show. It's very difficult for us to even start to, because we had her on the show this week. She was on our syndicated shows. And it seems like just as we start to get into the discussion, we just start to have the conversation, they're already wrapping me up, because we really only get between 2.5 minutes and maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes if we're very, very lucky during a segment on that. But then it's interrupted, and then you lose that momentum because we have a music segment, a music block of 15, 17 minutes sometimes, and you have to stop the conversation. So it's almost like, okay, everybody back to your corners, and then okay, we'll call you back on the phone, Bon, in 15 minutes for the next segment. Like it's just you lose that oomph, right? It doesn't have that energy anymore. So so it's great when we can do that on the podcast uninterrupted and really totally sweep what we were going to talk about anyway. So my thanks to Bonnie Winters for joining us on the show today. Feel free to give me a shout. Now again, like I said throughout that segment with Bon, we're just commentating from the outside. Again, we're not, because I got that when I would make Trump comments at the beginning, people were saying that I'm a bitter Hillary supporter, whatever. I don't give two shits, quite honestly. It's just, we're observers. So yes, it's tragic what's happening. It's sad that people are getting injured and things are happening, but there you go. Send me an email live at jbonair.com. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,